cooling system. And why choose Brennan? Well, check them out online. They have a 4.9 out of 5-star rating, over 1,000 reviews. Just go to BrennanHeating.com or call them about Lennox Heating or Air Conditioning at 877-BRENNAN. That's 877
BRENNAN. Brennan.
All right, Ron's here. We're on Facebook Live right now, the Ron and Don Show on KIRO Radio. Love for you to join us. Ron, what are we talking about here?
What are we talking about
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about here?
I saw 0 tents on the street in Europe last week. 0. I was looking for them. It's one of the things I do in the back of my mind when I travel. How does the city I'm visiting compare with the city I live in? I'm assuming that there are homeless people in 2 of the most prominent cities in the world, but they are not camping on the street, at least as far as I could tell. When you walk over the Tower Bridge in London, there are not people living under it. When you stroll down the Champs-Élysées in Paris, there are no tiny home villages offering services. London has a population of a little over 8.1 million people, just slightly smaller than New York City. I counted about half a dozen people sleeping in doorways. Some of them were clearly just drunk, sleeping it off. I say that because they had no possessions on them, and they appeared to be in going-out clothes. I saw a few people sleeping in subway tunnels when we were changing trains, but only a few. Paris is smaller, about 2.2 million people. That's still 3 times bigger than Seattle's 724,000 residents. I was all over that city for 48 hours straight by foot, train, boat, and bus. I did not see one tent. And I'm racking my brain to remember if I saw even one person sleeping in a doorway when I was up in the morning searching for fresh coffee and eclairs. Not one tent. And there were plenty of spots that our local homeless would consider prime real estate. Obviously, my little observational experiment on this trip isn't scientific. Surely these great international hubs struggle with many of the same issues that we do, but neither of these great cities allow for unimpeded camping on the streets. Neither London nor Paris politicians stand by hand-wringing while people just pop up a tent on a sidewalk or in any park that they want to. No sooner than I stepped off the Sounder light rail at Westlake Center to catch my bus home did I see our homeless problem front and center. It's hard to miss. So this is my semi-regular reminder to everyone here in the Pacific Northwest. This is not normal. This is not standard issue. This is not how the rest of the civilized world deals with homeless people. We should not just shrug our shoulders and say, I guess this is just how it's going to be. We can and should do better. Other big cities do things different. Other places that are liberal in the world do it better than we do. The way we deal with the homeless here is failing. Let's keep the pressure on local officials going to change. Let's not give up. This is not normal.
It's a great point, Ron. Well written and well said. And then we saw the connection today in the paper where it was talking about, wow, if you own a car, chances are it's been broken into a lot. And if you have somehow experienced criminality in the city or the Pacific Northwest, it's probably because you own one of the 500 million cars that happen to be here in the area. So I thought that was interesting. The other thing that I look for is I look for the heroin epidemic. And that's not to say there's not a heroin epidemic and a drug problem in these major cities that we visited, but you don't see it front and center on the streets. Do you think that's because of socialized medicine and there are just better services for people? Or do you think at the end of the day, we're just, as you said in your piece, we're just being too tolerant here?
I think it's a combination of things. I think that the healthcare is one of the things. But I'm glad that you echo my sentiment because I was looking for it as we walked around.
Yeah, I was too.
In London, 8.1 million people.
Yeah.
In fact, some of the times when we walked under the Tower Bridge, like, I think I said so. I was like, boy, in Seattle, there would be 9 tents here because it's undercover.
Yeah.
It's guarded from the rain. It's very close to a park. I was like, there should be. I almost expected there to be 5 or 6 tents there and was kind of surprised when I didn't see any, not one.
Yeah.
And you went running a lot more than obviously I didn't go running at all. But did you see one tent at anywhere?
No, I would usually run 7 to 8 miles through the cities in the morning. So if we were in Paris, if we were in London, and then we were out staying at the farmhouse out in Normandy.
Maybe there were some and I just missed them.
Nope, didn't see it anywhere. And again, I also look for the heroin problem. Here's the other thing I expected in Paris, though. People just to drop dead of lung cancer because there's so much smoking. Also for people just to choke on their baguette. Because there are people, it's so cool, and they are fitter than I am, and they are walking down the street after work, And it's like a 20-something person, and they're just munching on a baguette in a bag. It's like a 12-foot baguette.
Why wouldn't they?
They're not dipping it in anything. And then your brother explained to me, and then we ate one together. It's like, yeah, you don't need to dip this in anything. These things are amazing. So I even saw one guy out jogging.
With
just
the baguette?
Eating a baguette.
Why wouldn't he?
It's the Rod and Don Show on KIRO Radio.